Cats may be the only pet that never truly belonged to humans. Dogs were shaped by humans. Horses were trained by humans. Cows, sheep, and chickens were bred for specific purposes. But cats did something different. Instead of humans seeking out cats, cats may have quietly inserted themselves into human civilization, and somehow it worked. Today, hundreds of millions of cats live alongside humans. They sleep on couches, stare out windows, knock objects off tables, and somehow convince people to spend thousands of dollars on toys, towers, beds, and food designed specifically for them. Yet unlike most domesticated animals, cats still seem strangely wild. A golden retriever looks very different from a wolf. A pug barely resembles its ancestors, but a modern house cat still looks surprisingly similar to the wildcats that roamed deserts thousands of years ago, and that is because humans never completely transformed cats. In many ways, cats transformed themselves. To understand how this happened, we need to go back thousands of years before cats became pets, long before litter boxes, long before scratching posts, long before internet videos. Back to a time when wildcats lived entirely on their own. Thousands of years ago, small wildcats hunted across deserts and grasslands throughout the Middle East and North Africa. Unlike wolves, wildcats lived alone. They did not hunt in packs or cooperate with one another. Every meal depended on stealth, patience, and their ability to quietly stalk prey. And for most of human history, people barely noticed them. Humans feared wolves. Humans feared bears. Humans feared giant predators lurking beyond the firelight. A small striped cat simply wasn't important, at least not yet. Then humanity accidentally created the perfect world for cats. Around 12,000 years ago, people began making one of the most important discoveries in history: farming. For most of human history, humans lived as hunter-gatherers. Small groups constantly moved across enormous landscapes searching for food. But farming changed everything. People settled down, villages appeared, fields were planted, communities grew, and for the first time in history, humans began storing huge amounts of grain, enough to feed entire communities through difficult seasons. Unfortunately for humans, grain attracted something else: mice, then rats. Entire rodent populations exploded around early settlements. To modern people, a mouse is an annoyance. To early farmers, rodents were a serious threat. A bad infestation could destroy food supplies that entire families depended on to survive. And somewhere nearby, wildcats noticed something extraordinary. Humans had accidentally created the greatest hunting ground a small predator could ever imagine. Think about it from a cat's perspective. For thousands of years, finding food meant wandering across deserts and grasslands, searching for scattered prey. Then suddenly another species came along and gathered thousands of mice into one location, and they even built buildings around them. To a wildcat, early farming villages must have seemed ridiculous. Humans had somehow created giant mouse factories. Food was everywhere, and the cats noticed. The boldest wildcats slowly moved closer. At first, probably very cautiously, watching from shadows, hunting near grain stores after sunset, remaining just far enough away from humans to stay safe. Then humans noticed something too. The little predators lurking around their villages were solving a massive problem. The cats were killing rodents, lots of rodents, and so, unlike wolves, which humans later partnered with for hunting and protection, cats entered human society through something much simpler: mutual convenience. Humans tolerated cats because cats protected food supplies. Cats tolerated humans because humans accidentally created endless hunting grounds. Nobody planned it. Nobody signed an agreement. It simply worked. And over thousands of years, both species slowly adapted to each other. The wildcats most comfortable living near people gained access to more food. The extremely fearful cats stayed farther away. Generation after generation, evolution quietly favored cats that could remain calm around humans. But here's where cats become very different from dogs. Dogs changed dramatically during domestication. A wolf became a pug. A wolf became a chihuahua. A wolf became a golden retriever. Cats barely changed at all. In fact, if you placed an African wildcat beside a modern house cat, most people would struggle to tell them apart. That is remarkable. Thousands of years of living alongside humans, and cats still look remarkably similar to their wild ancestors. The wildcat never completely disappeared. It simply moved indoors, and traces of those ancient instincts are still everywhere. When your cat stalks a toy or silently watches birds through a window, ancient hunting instincts are still active. Even play is often disguised hunting practice. In many ways, your cat is still a tiny predator living inside your home. And unlike dogs, cats never fully evolved to obey humans. Dogs evolved to cooperate with people. Cats simply learned that human civilization was a very comfortable place to live, which is why many scientists believe cats essentially domesticated themselves. Humans did not carefully redesign cats the way they redesigned dogs. Cats simply discovered that human civilization was an incredibly comfortable place to live, and they moved in. As agriculture spread, cats followed. Villages became towns. Towns became cities. Trade routes connected distant civilizations, and everywhere humans carried food, rodents followed. Where rodents went, cats became useful. Ancient ships carrying grain were constantly plagued by rats. Sailors quickly discovered that cats solved the problem. As cats traveled aboard ships, they spread across continents alongside human civilization. But eventually, cats became more than useful. They became admired. Nowhere was this more obvious than ancient Egypt. Cats became associated with Bastet, the goddess of protection, fertility, and the home. And when archaeologists uncovered ancient Egyptian burial sites, they discovered something astonishing: millions of mummified cats. Think about how extraordinary that transformation is. An animal once hiding silently in deserts had become spiritually important to one of the most powerful civilizations on Earth. And yet, even then, cats still carried themselves like they owned the place. That mystery may actually be why humans became so attached to them. Dogs feel understandable. Cats feel ancient. Even today, people describe cats as mysterious, emotionally unreadable, or strangely intelligent. Part of that comes from the fact that cats still behave like creatures, only partially integrated into human society. When cats need blankets, rub against your legs, or bring home dead animals, they are often expressing behaviors rooted in ancient instincts. Scientists have even discovered that adult cats rarely meow at one another in the wild, yet around humans, they do it constantly. Over thousands of years, cats learned that certain sounds trigger human attention. Your cat may literally be manipulating your brain with carefully refined communication, and somehow it works. Today, there are hundreds of millions of domestic cats living alongside humans across the world. That makes cats one of the most successful predators on Earth, not because they were the strongest, not because they hunted in packs, not because they obeyed humans. A small solitary hunter from the desert quietly discovered that human civilization was the greatest survival strategy ever created. And now, humans buy expensive toys, heated beds, automated litter boxes, and entire pieces of furniture designed specifically for animals that still occasionally ignore us for hours before demanding food. That may be the strangest part of the entire story. Dogs joined humans as partners. Cats joined humans as opportunists. But somewhere over thousands of years, opportunism slowly became companionship. And tonight, somewhere in the world, a cat will curl up on a couch and fall asleep beside a human. It won't know anything about ancient farming villages. It won't know anything about Egyptian temples. It won't know that its ancestors once hunted silently across deserts thousands of years ago. But somehow, a small solitary predator discovered one of the greatest survival strategies in history. It convinced another species to feed it, protect it, entertain it, build furniture specifically for it, and even clean up after it. Unlike many domesticated animals, cats never fully gave up their independence. They simply discovered that living alongside humans was a very good deal, and thousands of years later, the arrangement is still working perfectly.